Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, keeping with the customization theme that we've kind of been going with for the past couple of videos, we're going to be taking a look at another customization program for Windows XP. But what's really cool about this one is that it is a customization program specifically designed for Windows XP by Microsoft. Yes, Microsoft actually made a customization tool for XP that allows you to kind of unlock some extra capabilities, within the operating system. And it's a very cool program. It's called TweakUI. And TweakUI first came to light in 1996 when it became part of the PowerTools package for Windows 95. And this package basically contained just a bunch of extra features and abilities for the operating system, some of which even made its way into just a regular edition of Windows in future Windows releases. And Microsoft later on made a version of this PowerTools package for Windows XP, and included in that package was an updated version of TweakUI. And you can still download this TweakUI program online today. You just obviously have to do a Google search for TweakUI, and you can get some information about it. And I actually downloaded it from File Hippo right here. If you go to this website, you can actually download it. And like I said, this is made by Microsoft, and it's also a free program, which is pretty cool. This is the installer file that you get. We're just going to go ahead and run it here, and this is what the setup program looks like. Now, I've already gone through the setup process, but you can see that this looks like a pretty standard Microsoft installer. We hit next here. It's got, a regular Microsoft EULA in here. You can even open it in WordPad if you want to. But like I said, I'm not going to go through this because I've already actually installed the program on my C drive. But you'll see up here that this is also for Windows Server 2003. So if you want to try that out in Server 2003, this program will work in it. So once you install the program, it will show up in your All Programs menu under the PowerTools for Windows XP group. And here it is, TweakUI right here with its nice little icon. We'll go ahead and just open that up. And this is what the program looks like when you open it up. Now, it looks pretty simple. It's a pretty simple interface, but there's a lot of customization features packed into this program. And I'm going to be going through most of the interesting ones here. I'm going to try to touch on all of them. So this first About screen right here just basically contains some information about it, just kind of shows you how to use it. And it says that you can select a setting from the tree list at the left, and you just basically press the plus button to expand it and actually get to some sub options basically. So under this About screen, there isn't really anything that's going to actually allow you to customize your system from within this program. You have this tips list, which is just a bunch of random tips. Under policy here, all this is a shortcut to the group policy editor, which basically, I mean, we're not going to be getting into this in this video because this is just a whole separate topic, but you can actually customize a lot of things from within the group policy editor. And I should also mention that all of these things and all of these options that you can customize from within this program, you can actually do manually from within the Windows registry. But this program is just designed to make it easier, kind of like a one-stop shop, to where you don't have to go searching through the Windows registry and risk messing something up. You can just do it from within this safe program here and just do it, honestly, in a much easier fashion. That's what's really nice about this. So let's go under General here. Now, each of the top menu options on the tree here actually contains some options within it, and then when you click the plus, you have even more stuff to modify. So we're just going to go down line by line basically. So under this General tab, you basically just have a ton of options for enabling or disabling certain things under system: fading, animation, box animation, cursor shadow, and you've got things like beep on errors, enable combo box animation. A lot of this stuff in here is like the menu fading and the cursor shadow are honestly like things that you could turn off if you were on a lower spec machine. If you had a machine that just barely met the XP system requirements and you wanted to make the system feel a little bit faster, you could turn off unnecessary things like the cursor shadow or menu animations or menu fading or list box animation. You can honestly turn all of these off and just you can just go ahead and do all of that here. And now when we hit apply, and I think we have to actually restart the system for it to take effect, but you won't have any animations or things like that. What you can also do, which is pretty cool for those of you who are interested in kind of the development of Windows, or kind of trying just to figure out what build of Windows that you're on, you can actually show the Windows version on the desktop. If we go ahead and apply this, we have to actually log out. A lot of this stuff, for it to actually take effect, will actually require you to either log out of your session and log back in, or restart the system entirely. So let me just go ahead and log out here, and we'll go ahead and log back in. And now, once it loads my session here, you'll see that down at the bottom there, we have our build string, Windows XP Professional Build 2600. This is something that you most likely have seen before in a development version of Windows, where they basically put this little watermark down at the bottom to let you know that you're using a beta version of Windows. Well, you can actually enable that just by using this program. So if we expand the general tab here, we get to this thing called Focus. And this is actually a very, very nice feature, because what it does is it's basically designed, as the name suggests, to keep you focused on whatever that you're working on. What you can do is actually disable other applications from taking focus away from you by, instead of actually flashing the window up on the screen. So say you were working on like a Word document and you had like an Excel spreadsheet in the background, or you were downloading a file with Internet Explorer, and it came up with a notification, saying that your download was completed. Well, this basically would, instead of having that come up on your screen on top of what you were working on, it would actually just show a little animation from within the taskbar. So it just is a kind of something that is just designed to keep you on track, if that makes any sense, to not get you distracted from your work. So this is actually something that isn't really about customization, but about usability, which is very, very cool. Now, Alt-Tab here, what you can do is change the size of the Alt-Tab window. So just to show you, let me go ahead and open up another folder here, and we'll go ahead and press Alt-Tab. So right now I've got it set to have 10 rows and 10 columns, which is not the default setting, by the way. But let's say that I want to make this 99 rows and 99 columns. If I hit apply and I log back off the system and log back on. So now if I were to open up a couple of programs here and I press Alt-Tab, you'll see that we have this super long box. Oh, I guess I actually maxed it out. So the maximum is 15 and 28. That's interesting. There is actually a maximum. Interesting, I did not know that. Moving on to the mouse setting here, in here we can actually customize settings that pertain to our mouse, as you would expect from the name mouse being on the side window here. So what this first slider does up here is it basically changes the speed of opening menus from within the right-click context menu. So just to show you what I mean, what you can actually do, and what's also very nice about a lot of the options in this program, is they have a way of actually testing them out without you having to go to your desktop or go to a separate application to actually try it. So they've got this test icon here, and when I right-click on it, when I go into these sample menus, basically what this slider does is it changes the latency of how long it's going to take for me when I mouse over one of these options for it to switch and open up that sub menu. So if I wanted to be very, very slow, I would just slide it all the way over here, hit apply, and now when I right click on this test icon and I go to sample menu, I'm just mousing over it, and you see that it takes a very, very long time for the window to actually open up. Honestly, I don't even think it's going to. I think that you have to actually click on it for it to open up. On the other hand, if I want it to be very, very fast, I just hit apply. Now when I go to these menus, you see that it is instantaneous. I can literally just, as soon as I mouse over it, it just swaps right over to that sub menu. What you can also do is change the mouse sensitivity for things like a double click for what will actually register as a double click on the system, and also drag right here. And to show you the drag one, what I can do is actually press and hold my mouse button and try to drag the icon. So the default setting is 4, and you see that basically it's almost instantaneous. When I start to try to drag the icon, it pretty much comes with my mouse cursor. Now if I change this to 99 and I try to click on the icon and drag it, you'll see that it takes a little while for it to actually register that as a drag. Now we're not done with the mouse options just yet, because we can actually expand it, and we have some hover settings, which is again basically like a latency as to what actually will count as a hover when you hover over things. So right now it's set at 1000, and when I mouse over this icon here, it doesn't think that I'm hovering over it and it does this little animation for a little while. But if I change this to 1 and hit apply, you'll see that it is almost instantaneous again. And you can also change the sensitivity as well. So again, just something that is set to your preference. And under this wheel setting, first of all, you can just entirely turn off mouse wheel scrolling, or if you want to actually change how fast that you scroll down a page. So you see that right now it's set that it's going to scroll 3 lines at a time. So let me go ahead and open up a web browser here. What I can do is right now, if I just move my mouse wheel 1 notch down, you'll see that it'll scroll about 3 lines at a time like it's set to. So let's say that I wanted to scroll 100 lines, or I guess 99 is the maximum. If I want to scroll 99 lines at a time, and hit apply, and now when I scroll down, I don't think that the max, yeah, I think that there's like a maximum setting. Let me just go ahead and, maybe not, because I don't think that that's 99 lines, but you get the idea. You can basically change how fast that, or how many lines that you scroll down by moving your mouse wheel 1 notch. On the other hand, I could change this to 1, and then make it a very, very, precise scrolling. I'm just moving this down 1 notch, and it's going to move exactly 1 line down the page. So if you're somebody who likes to scroll the mouse wheel a lot, you can you can have that setting enabled. Now moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at the X mouse feature. Now this is honestly a pretty cool feature because it's very similar to how this works in the X window system. So normally, let me just kind of describe this feature for a little bit here. Normally, if you were wanting to switch between active windows on your system, you would have to move your mouse. So let's say that I was in this program here, and now I want to go to my web browser. What I would have to do is I would have to move my mouse from this program over to the web browser and then click in the window. And now this is now my foreground window, or my prominent window. And to go back to the TweakUI window, I got to move my mouse over and click in the actual program. You always have to click. Well, when you turn on this X mouse feature and hit apply, what it will do is it will only depend on where the position of your mouse is on the screen. So if I move my mouse over to SeaMonkey, you see that SeaMonkey becomes my active window. I don't have to click anymore. This is very similar to how the X window system works, or how X11 works. What you can also do is, if you want to go even further, you can actually auto raise. So just to demonstrate that, let me move this TweakUI window more over into the SeaMonkey window. So again, you see this is how it is without auto raise on. Now when I turn on auto raise and hit apply, when I move my mouse over, it just automatically brings this window to the front. Very nice. You can also set an activation delay. So if you want this to be 99 milliseconds, hit apply. You'll see that it'll take a little bit longer for it to actually take effect when I mouse over. I can also change this down to 1 for it to be basically instantaneous here. I can switch back and forth very quickly. So that is the X mouse feature. Honestly, a very useful feature. Under Explorer here, you actually have a lot of options for customizing things on the start menu and what appears in the start menu. You can do things like, disable help on the start menu. You can disable logging off on the start menu. You can turn off recent documents, so I can do that, and now it won't show any recent documents on the start menu. This My Recent Documents window, it will totally get rid of that. You can see now it's gone. And again, that is just within this first option here. If I actually expand this, we have some shortcut options. You can actually change what the shortcut arrow looks like. You can make it this light arrow. You can even make it a custom file if you want, or you can just outright disable it entirely. Under colors here, you can actually change certain file colors within Windows Explorer. Thumbnails, you can change the quality and size of file thumbnails. A lot of these, like I said, I'm just going to kind of breeze through because they're very self-explanatory and they don't really need a whole lot of demonstration. Command keys, this is actually pretty cool. If you have a keyboard with specific action buttons, so like on my keyboard I have a mute key, and when I press it, you see that this mute volume thing comes up here. So if you had a keyboard with all of these options, somehow you had a keyboard with a My Computer button or a paste button, you could actually change what each of those buttons do. So if I want to change the mute volume key to open up Windows Explorer or just do nothing, I can do that right from here. I can literally just put in a path of a program that I want to execute, and the operating system will execute that when I press the mute volume key instead of muting the volume. Pretty cool. Under customizations here, this is just an option to change the amount of folder customizations that Explorer will remember. So just to save on space, if you want to save some extra space. Now for the slideshow here, this one basically just changes the delay in changing to the next picture when you are in a picture slideshow through the Windows Photo and Fax viewer. So the default is, 5,000, so it'll wait 5,000 milliseconds until it swaps to the next photo. So you could change this if you wanted to 10 or even 1 to make it like a super rapid slideshow. So that's that one there. Under common dialogues here, you just have a couple settings to enable or disable some things that you might see on your system. So enabling autocomplete, showing the back button on file, open and save dialogues. And this right here, this places bar setting under common dialogues is also a very, very neat setting because it basically allows you to change the default places or the default save locations or open locations that will appear when you try to open or save a file. So let's say that I'm, drawing some art here and I'm done, and I'm going to go ahead and hit File and Save As. So your default places are these 5 buttons on the right here. So what I can do is actually change these. So let's say that I want to have my desktop as number 1, the network neighborhood as number 2, history as number 3, shared music, why not, and favorites. I hit apply, and now when I go to save as, you see that we have those custom options here. So if you had a one of those locations, so say that you never used the My Pictures folder and you wanted to change it out to something else, you can do that right from within here. Now it doesn't look like you can actually set your own folder. You have to choose from a list of ones that Microsoft already has. So that is unfortunate, but it's still pretty nice. Taskbar and start menu, this first setting, you just have some options. We'll go ahead and just close out of this here to turn off balloon tips, showing your name on the start menu. So, I've got my name Michael up here. I can turn that off, and now it will just show nothing. I can show taskbar notification icons worn when I'm low on disk space on the system. When I expand this, we have some grouping settings as well. This is for button grouping down in the taskbar. And this is also pretty cool. In the start menu, you can actually choose what will show up in the frequently used programs section. So let's say that I want to turn all of this off. I don't want anything to appear. So there, I've got everything turned off. Now I hit apply, and I open up the start menu. We got nothing. So under desktop, you have this first setting is literally just an option to turn on some extra desktop icons. So if you want My Network Places, Documents, Computer, and IE, you can hit apply, and now all of those icons will be on the desktop. And you can also change what first icon appears on your desktop. Under My Computer, this My Computer icon setting, if I enable Control Panel, it just changes and adds like an extra row here basically. So let me just go back into My Computer. Normally Control Panel is not here, but you can enable it from within this program. You have some drives options. You can choose to, let's say that I don't want to show the C drive. I can hit apply, and now the C drive is gone. So you can turn off the showing of all of these drives in here. Very, very nice. Under special folders, what this allows you to do is basically change the location of certain folders on your system, if that makes any sense. So like My Documents, if I hit change location, first of all, it will come up with this warning saying carelessly changing a special folder may render your system unusable. For example, don't set 2 special folders equal to each other, or set a special folder equal to a system folder like the fonts folder. So when I hit yes, what this will do is it will basically allow me to say where I want the system to, what folder that I want the system to recognize as My Documents. So let's say that instead of having it in its default location, I want it to be on the desktop in a new folder called 1. I'm going to make that folder, and now, let me just go back into this here. Now this 1 folder, I hit OK, and now that will be my Documents folder. So now what I can do is go into this 1 folder here, and let's make a new bitmap image. Let's make a new WinRAR zip archive. There we go. And now when I go into Start and My Documents, it will open up this same folder, but it will be calling itself My Documents. All you're doing is basically changing the location where the system points to when you say, this is my Documents folder, I'm going to open up My Documents. And then we have autoplay here, and you can just, all it does is give you this shortcut to open My Computer. But when we click on this plus button here, we can change again drives, types, and handlers. So let's say that I didn't want autoplay to happen on CD drives. I can turn that off on my D drive, hit apply, and now when I put a disk into my disk drive, or my D drive in this case, the system will not autoplay whatever's on, or even come up with that dialog box. Very, very nice. So definitely a useful way to prevent malware infections as well. This is also, I find this incredibly funny. Under this control panel setting, what you can do is actually enable or disable specific control panel handles. What you can also do is disable every single control panel that is in the entire control panel application. So let's say that you didn't want anybody modifying anything on your system. You can just hit apply, turn all this stuff off, hit apply. And now when you go into control panel, you actually have a couple of things. I guess you can't disable everything, but you can disable like a lot of it. You have a very, very minimal amount of things that you can edit in here. So that's definitely very nice. Under templates here, this is also very cool because you can actually create custom document templates when you right click on your desktop and go to new. You know how you have all of these icons in here, so you would normally do this to say create a text document or a zip archive. Well, what you can do is if you had a specific program that you wanted to always show up. So just to show you how this works, I'm going to make a new HTML document right here. Now what I can then do is in this document templates, I can hit create, and I can go to that HTML file and hit open. And now it will create this new setting called CMonkey document. If I hit apply and OK, now it's actually going to tell me I need to log back off, and then log back in. So let me go ahead and do that here. Now when I right click on my desktop and go to new, you see I have this CMonkey document, which is basically just an HTML file. So now I can just create that, and it uses this file. This was the template that I created. Let's move on to Internet Explorer. Now what you can do here, I actually find this very useful. You can autocorrect the backslashes to slashes for one. And you can also do this thing called include path search in address bar. Now what this does is, let me just go ahead and demonstrate it for you. So normally, if I go into Internet Explorer here, and let's say that I try to type in CMD, for instance, what it's going to do is try to open up a web page called CMD, which obviously doesn't exist. But what I can do by enabling this is it basically turns the IE address bar into a run box. So now if I type in CMD, it will open up CMD. If I type in WinVer, it will open up WinVer. You can actually change the toolbar background for the entire program, and you can also do it for the regular Explorer as well. So let me just turn both of these on and apply a custom bitmap image. Now you have to use a bitmap image. You can't use anything else. You can only use bitmap files. So I've got this very blown up bitmap image of my channel background. It's not going to look very well, but again, this is just for video sake, for demonstration purposes. But when I hit apply on both of those, or when I hit apply here rather, now when I go into Internet Explorer, you'll see that the address bar and the entire background basically has been changed to a blown up bitmap of my channel background. Search, this is very nice. You can actually create a custom search prefix. So I've got this one here called Goog, and what it does is, let me just go ahead and show you. Let me go ahead and press on edit here. So what this tells Internet Explorer to do here is when I type in Goog space and then just some random search query, and I press enter, it will autocorrect that to browse to this website, google.com/search, and then where this %s is here, actually paste in whatever query that I type in. So this is the correct format that you have to use on Google. It's google.com/search $Q equals, and then you have to use %s as it says down here for your actual query, which is what you're going to be typing in. So just to show you how this works, if I hit OK and open up Internet Explorer, and actually this works from within regular Explorer as well. If I type in Goog and then space Michael MJD and press enter, it will try to load google.com. You see that it just autocorrects that to google.com/search $Q equals, and then my search query. It doesn't load because this is IE6, and IE6 doesn't like modern websites. But that is how it works. Again, this probably isn't the most useful tool today, because Internet Explorer 6 is not really the best web browser to use. You guys probably know this, but it's there, and you could use this same format for Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Bing, if you used Bing for some reason, you can do that there, which is very, very nice. View source, this is very simple. It just changes what program that when you hit view source from within Internet Explorer, what program that will open up the source in. This is also cool. You can change the animation that appears up here in the top right corner. So you can make it your own custom animation, or you could go old school with this like Windows 95 style animation, which is built into the program. I don't have a custom bitmap setting, set up for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and hit apply and apply, or I guess it just applies both of them, which is nice. And now, when I go into IE, you can see that we have this old Windows flag, and when I actually try to browse to a website, it will, play that nice little animation. So very, very nice if you were kind of, if you just preferred the way that the Windows 95 one looked. There you go. Under command prompt here, you can basically change like some autocomplete settings basically. So normally, if you start typing out a file name within command prompt and press tab, it will autocomplete. And let me just show you that here because it can probably show it better than I can talk about it. So I'm in my documents folder, and let's say I want a CD, and I start typing desktop. If I press tab, it will autocorrect or basically autocomplete to desktop. I can change that to say I want it to be Control A or Control K or any one of these random options. Log on, you can keep remote access service connections on after log off. You can choose to show the admin account on the welcome screen, or you can even hide, which I did, but you can choose to actually disable your username from the welcome screen. And when you do this, it will show the regular administrators, even though that I have this off. When I go to switch user here, it will still show the admin account. So what I have to do to get into my account is press Ctrl-Alt-Delete twice, type in my name and press OK, and now it will log me back into my session. So you also have some options for auto login if you wanted to basically bypass your password or the login screen entirely. You can just choose to log on a user automatically. You can choose to show unread mail, I assume from Outlook, on the welcome screen. And you can also add a screensaver grace period. Access control, you can basically change some user options for, manage printer shares, for example. If I hit change, you can change what users have access to what. And under repair here, you can choose to actually, if you screw something up, let's say that you want to repair the My Videos icon, you just hit repair now, and it will repair the My Videos icon. I mean, you can rebuild icons, set them back to normal on your desktop. If I hit repair now, you see they will go back to normal. Very, very nice. And that is basically it, guys. That is TweakUI. Again, it's a very, very useful little program. I'm not sure how useful it would be in today's terms because I don't know if this works on Windows 10. It probably doesn't, or it might run, but it might not actually change anything. But if you guys want to see me actually running this in Windows 10 and trying to modify some settings, be sure to let me know down in the comments below, as you guys have definitely helped me recently with some video ideas, which I definitely do appreciate. Guys, as always, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful or interesting, be sure to give it a thumbs up, be sure to get subscribed down below, and turn on channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever that I upload a new video, which I do every single week on this channel. And as always, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.